वेलकम टू सारिका स्टडी एकेडमी। तो आज क्लास 8 का इंग्लिश का सेमेस्टर 2, इसमें पेज नंबर 90 अपेंडिक्स टेक्सचुअल, इसके सॉल्यूशन इस वीडियो में देखेंगे। तो फर्स्ट, आफ्टर 20 years adapted from the story by O. Henry। तो फर्स्ट read the text carefully and answer the questions given below। In first question, describe the cop moving along the street। The answer is, the cop looked strong and important as he moved along the street. He checked each door that it was closed for the night. Sometimes he looked up and down the street. He looked fine. He was quite watchful and a true guardian of peace. Question 2. Write in 3 sentences about the time and the climate narrated in the first paragraph. The answer is, it was cold. There was a wind with a little rain in it. The time was about 10 at night and the cold had shut the people early in their homes. Question 3. What duty was the cop doing? What do you think was he looking for? The answer is, the cop was on the beat along the street. It was a street with many shops alongside. He checked almost each door that it was closed. He was looking for some criminal about whom he had got some information. Question 4. What do you think was the area where the cop was taking round? The answer is, the area was a street where there were many business places. Alongside, hardly one shop was open at that time. Therefore, the cop was taking rounds gardening most of those closed shops. Question 5. Give the meaning of the following phrases and use it in the sentences of your own. Now and then, sometimes but not often. The answer is, every now and then we have our lunch together. पैराग्राफ सेकंड के क्वेश्चंस देख लेते हैं। पेज नंबर 91। What explanation did the man give for his standing at that dark place? The answer is, the man standing in the dark place gave the reason of standing there that he was waiting for his friend from whom he had parted 20 years ago. Question 2. Describe the appearance of the man near the door. The answer is, the man standing near the door had a colorless, square face with bright eyes. He had a little white mark near his right eye. He had a large well in his necklace. Question 3. Who was the man's friend? When did he meet him last? The answer is, Jimmy Well was the waiting man's friend. He had met him before 20 years. They had met last at Big Joe Brady's restaurant. Question 4. How had the man and his friend parted? The answer is, the man and his friend has parted before 20 years. They had met at Big Joe Brady's restaurant and he had dinner with him. Question 5. Why was Jimmy not ready to leave New York? The answer is, Jimmy Wells was not ready to leave New York because he had a great attachment with New York, where he was born and grew up. He thought New York to be the only place on earth. पेज नंबर 93 पे फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन है, what was the agreement made between the two friends while parting? The answer is, while parting after a dinner at Joe Brady's restaurant, the two friends agreed to meet there again after 20 years. Question 2. What did the man believe about the credential of the friends? The answer is, the man believed that Jimmy's, his best friend, was as true as any man in the world. He was damn sure that Jimmy would never fail to keep his promise. He would never forget the promise. Question 3. How was Jimmy's according to the waiting man? The answer is, according to the waiting man, Jimmy was a true and reliable man. He would never forget his promise. Of course, the waiting man believed that Jimmy was a slow mover, but he must have done half as well as he had done in the West. Question 4. How long would the waiting man keep at the place? Why? The answer is waiting man would keep at that place till his friend turned up. He was ready to wait for half an hour more as he was confident about his friend coming. Question 5. In what sense was Jimmy's a slow mover? According to the waiting man, the answer is according to the waiting man, Jimmy was not so active. He would not take any kind of risk. He would never leave New York, for he found himself safe and secure in New York. पेज नंबर 94, फोर्थ पैराग्राफ, इसके क्वेश्चंस देख लेते हैं. फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन है डिस्क्राइब द सीन of the place where the man was waiting for his friend. The answer is the place where the man was waiting for his friend was not busy at all. There was a cold rain falling and the wind was stronger, so the few people walking along that street were hurrying, trying to keep warm. Question 2. Who according to you was the tall man in a long coat? The answer is according to me, the tall man in a long coat must be the waiting man's friend Jimmy Well, because he directly addresses the waiting man by his name. Only a familiar person would do that. Question 3. Has the West been good to you? What kind of expression does this question suggest? The answer is the tall man in a long coat asked the waiting man the question, has the West been good to you? The question suggests that from the appearance of the waiting man, the man in the long coat could safely derive that he had earned a lot in the West. Question 4. What apparent change did the waiting man find in the man in the long coat? The answer is the waiting man found the man in the long coat a little taller. Question 5. What did the man in the long coat propose to Bob? The answer is the man in the long coat proposed to Bob to go to a place familiar to him and have a good long talk about old times. पेज नंबर 95 पे फिफ्थ पैराग्राफ है, इसके क्वेश्चंस देख लेते हैं. इन फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन, what was the reaction of the man from the west as soon as he looked at the face of the man in the long coat? The answer is as soon as the man from the west and the tall man in the long coat turned and looked at the other's face, the man from the west stopped suddenly and pulled his arm away. He said, "You are not Jimmy Wells." Question 2. What doubt did the man from the west raise? Why? The answer is the man from the west raised the doubt that 20 years was not so long a time that a man's short nose turned into a long one. Question 3. What did the man in the coat disclose to the man from the west? The answer is the man in the coat finally disclosed that he was a cop and told Bob that he was under arrest for 10 minutes. He also ordered him to go with him quietly. Question 4. What was the content of the total piece of paper? The answer is the little piece of paper was from Jimmy Wells. It read that he had come to see Bob on time, but he saw the face of a man wanted by Chicago police. He, being his fast friend, did not want to arrest him himself, so he sent another cop to arrest Bob. Question 5. Why did the hand of the man from the west begin to shake? The answer is the man from the west was Bob, a criminal. He by all means wanted to keep away from the police. Here he was under arrest, and when the cop who had arrested him gave him a cheat to read naturally out of fear, his hand began to shake a little. Question 2. Answer the following questions in 2 or 3 sentences. In first question, describe the locality of the police was patrolling. The answer is the area seems to be made up of 2-story wooden building with shops on the ground floor and offices on the second floor. Question 2. Describe the figure of the policeman. The answer is describe the appearance of the police on the boat. The policeman moved up the street of his duty in a very impressive manner. He had alert eyes and strong figure with a proud manner. It made him a fine feature of guardian of peace. Question 3, page number 97. What did the waiting man say to the policeman? The answer is the strongest told the policeman that he was waiting for his friend from whom he had parted 20 years ago. He told him that before parting they had dined together a big Joe Brady's restaurant and that they had agreed to meet after 20 years at the same place and the same time, no matter where they might be. How had the two friends parted 20 years ago? The answer is 20 years ago the two friends had dined together at Big Joe's Brady's restaurant. At that time, Bob was 18 and Jimmy was 20. There they had parted. They had agreed that they would meet there again after 20 years. They had thought that in 20 years each would have got what life had to give them and would have made their career. Question 5. What was the agreement between the two friends? The answer is both the friend after the dinner at Big Joe Brady's restaurant parted at that time. They had agreed to meet again after 20 years at the same place and time. Question 6. When did the man from the west see his companion's face? What was his reaction then? The answer is the tall man introduced himself as Jimmy. Well, since it was dark, both of them started along the street arm in arm. When both of them come to a corner and stood at shop bright with electric light, they could see each other's face. The man from the west stopped suddenly and pulled his arm away as he recognized that his companion was not Jimmy Well from his long nose. Question 7. Why did Jimmy's note contain? The answer is Jimmy's note read that he had come to meet Bob at the appointed place on time. He saw the face of the man wanted by Chicago police. Being his fast friend, he didn't want to arrest him, so he went away and sent another cop to arrest him. Question 8. Write in about 5 sentences how was Jimmy according to Bob. The answer is Jimmy was Bob's best friend. Bob called him the finest chap in the world. Jimmy was older than Bob and loved him like a brother. Jimmy was a hummingbird and so he refused to leave New York. He was not very ambitious. Along to Bob, Jimmy was somewhat slow mover, so he might not have succeeded in making a lot of money. The two friends had dined together at Brady's restaurant before parting. They had agreed to meet after 20 years at the same place and same time. Bob was sure that Jimmy would keep his appointment. Question 9. Write page number 98. Question 9. Write in 5 sentences about the end of the story after 20 years. The answer is in after 20 years the ending is particularly important as it has a surprise twist and unifies the plot to an absolution. It is assumed that Bob was a good person based from his loyalty to his friends as he was waiting after 20 years having travelled miles to see him. ठीक है, तो इसी के साथ इस वीडियो में ये चैप्टर यहीं पे ख़त्म होता है. नेक्स्ट वीडियो में नेक्स्ट चैप्टर के साथ मिलते हैं. अगर वीडियो पसंद आता है तो लाइक शेयर सब्सक्राइब कीजिए. थैंक यू.